Hello and welcome to the International Daily Roundup by People's Dispatch, where we bring you some of the major news developments from across the world. In our first story, elections will be held in Algeria on December 12th, the first after a mass uprising that forced President Abdelaziz Bouteflika to leave. We talked to Abdul about the relevance of these elections.
So Abdul, elections are coming up in Algeria. They're scheduled for December 12th, and these are the first elections that are going to happen after Bouteflika was forced to resign. He was basically overthrown due to popular protests. But people are still opposing the election process. They're calling for the boycott of elections. Can you tell us why this is happening?
The basic reason behind this is the deep mistrust about against the system, which people have. The President Bouteflika and the National Liberation Front, which was ruling for last, or you can say since the independence in 1962, they are seen as corrupt institutions. Just like you saw what is happening in Iraq and what is happening in Lebanon, you find similarities that people do not trust the established ruling elites and the entire system, which they have found that they have not been able to deliver the basic goods, and has not been able to take care of their basic problems and so on and so forth. That is one. The second thing is, if you see all the candidates, there are 5 candidates. All 5 of them, presidential candidates, are those who are associated with the previous regime or are associated with the indirectly with the ruling party, and that creates another set of mistrust. So you see, the basic reason behind the protest was to change the system, their overhaul in the system. None of those demands have been fulfilled. Only there is an election which is being conducted, and therefore people are not happy with it. They want overall in the system. They want the entire system to be changed, the ruling elites to be changed, and I don't know how it will be done, but that is the basic demand, and that's why there is an opposition.
So then what do you think the outcome will be?
Right now it is very difficult to say. It looks like the overall polling percentage will be low. If you see the last elections, again, which were happening in the background of Arab Spring and so on and so forth, the overall participation was less than 50%. Even that figure was considered to be exaggerated by the army and the ruling elite. So I think majority of the people will not be going to vote because of the trust deficit will have. But whatever percentage which is going to vote, the army has stakes in the present system, and it seems they will be relying on whoever turns to vote on that particular day.
In our second story, hundreds of Palestinians in the city of Hebron in the south of the occupied West Bank took part in a general strike. They were protesting the recent Israeli decision to build new illegal Jewish settlements in the city at the expense of a historic Palestinian wholesale fruits and vegetables market. The strike, called by the Fatah movement among others, was to make clear to the world that the Palestinian people would not compromise on their land. During the strike, all official institutions, city offices, schools and local shops stayed closed. In the crackdown that followed the protests, Israeli security forces used live gunfire and tear gas to suppress the protesters and to break up the protests. The Palestinian Red Crescent Society, in a statement, said that 3 Palestinians were shot and wounded by live gunfire, and dozens of others suffered from suffocation due to tear gas inhalation. Students and activists in Papua and West Papua have demanded that the Indonesian president deliver his election promise of taking action against officials accused in a 5-year-old mass shooting case. President Joko Widodo, properly known as Jokowi, had promised to reserve the Panay shooting case, where Indonesian security personnel opened fire at a protest rally, killing 5 Papuans on December 7, 2014. Ambrosius Clangett, who coordinated the demonstration of the 5th anniversary of the shooting, told the media that even prosecution is yet to begin against any of the officials accused of the shooting. According to the Jakarta Post, Clangett also added that the Widodo government has been responsible for far greater human rights violations in the Papuan territories, which are under widespread Indonesian control. That's all we have in this episode of the International Daily Roundup. To know more about these stories, visit our website peoplesdispatch.org and follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Thanks for watching.
Avanzan ya banderas de unidad y tú